Now for this hour, we start with US President. US President Donald Trump has vowed to implement a wave of increasing tariffs on European allies until the United States is allowed to buy Greenland, escalating a row over the future of Denmark's vast Arctic island. In a post on Truth Social, Trump has said additional 10% import tariffs would take effect on February 1st on goods from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, and Great Britain, all already subject to tariffs imposed by Trump. Meanwhile, Greenlandic Minister Naja Nathanielsen has praised the reaction of European countries targeted by Trump's new tariff threats, which many European leaders have condemned as unacceptable. Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen has also stated that Trump's tariff threat comes as a surprise. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Matthew Wadham. He's an American journalist and author, joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much, Mr. Wadham, for joining us once again. Good to see you.
Sure, hi.
Hi. Now looking at this, how significant is this the threat that's issued by Trump, and what do you think the outcome would be? How do you think European countries are going to be defensive, maybe giving reactions about this?
Well, President Trump is certainly using a big stick, as the saying goes, to get other countries to fall into line. He is saying that if the European countries don't agree with an American acquisition of Greenland, that he is going to put a 10% tariff on them, and then a few months later I think the tariff would go up to 25% if by that point the United States has not taken over Greenland. So this is a really harsh way to negotiate, and I'm quite surprised that he's taking this tack. He really wants to have Greenland, and I'm not sure why he feels that the U.S. needs to have sovereignty over it, because the Denmark and the United States already signed a treaty, I think in the 1950s, saying that Denmark would retain sovereignty over Greenland, but the United States would be responsible for military affairs, for defending Greenland. So, which entails the U.S. being allowed to send the U.S. military there. So I'm not sure why he feels he needs to own, the United States needs to own Greenland outright, but he is a real estate developer, and it would be the biggest land acquisition in American history, bigger than the Louisiana Purchase and bigger than the purchase of Alaska if he were to succeed. So maybe he is thinking of posterity, and he wants to go in the history books. But I don't think it is really actually necessary for the United States to have sovereignty over Greenland in order for him to accomplish his objectives, but he seems to think it is.
Right. And building on that, Mr. Wadham, some of our guests argue that instead of acquiring Greenland as an Arctic territory over security threat, they should make more investments and take care and protect Alaska instead. What's your take on that?
Well, that's an argument, but I think Alaska is already, as far as I know, Alaska is already pretty well defended by the United States. So, the United States could respond to a military threat if needed, but that is an interesting point of view. I don't really have any strong feelings on that. The U.S. defends its territory, so I'm not sure how much more it needs to put into Alaska in order to do that. Yeah. I think it's doing the job already.
And lastly, Mr. Wadham, how effective do you think these threats by Trump would be, and do you think he will be able to put a price tag on Greenland as well?
He probably will offer, there will be a price tag at some point. I don't think he can take it by force. The Although the United States would defeat European Union countries' forces if it turned into an actual war, I think the United States would crush them. But I don't think that would be good for the United States or good for Europe, or definitely not good for the NATO alliance, which would disintegrate over such a thing. So if he wants Greenland, offering cash for it seems like the best way to go about it. But right now things are pretty uncertain, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. The Europeans, there was a leader in Germany who said, or not in Germany, but one of the other countries in Northern Europe, maybe Belgium, who said that if the United States goes through with a military takeover of Greenland, that European countries would seize U.S. Military bases in Europe. And I think that threat is a real one. So I think in the end, Trump doesn't want to open up a can of worms like that, and start a war beyond Greenland over his desire to take over Greenland.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Vadam, for joining us and sharing that insight. Please stay with us as
Sure.
we come back. Thank you.